It's 6:30. We're going to call this meeting to order. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Richie and Allen. That the regular meeting of the Council of the Township of Springwater of November 21st, 2018 come to order at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. So I'd ask everyone to stand if they're able while we sing the national anthem, and it'll be led by Councillor Austin, and ask you to remain standing after we finish the national anthem.
O Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front scène de fleurs en glorieux, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée de plus brillants exploits, et ta valeur de foi trempée protégera nos foyers et nos droits, protégera nos foyers et nos droits.
Please remain standing for private contemplation or private prayer. Please be seated. So I'll turn to council. Is there anyone that has a disclosure of pecuniary interest on any of the matters on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none. I'm going to briefly turn the presentation over to Mr. Brindley, is my understanding.
Testing? Hey. Good, thank you. It was the mayor. This is actually unusual for me. It's usually the mayor who is up here who gives away certificates. But as we come to a close of this term of council, the 2014 to 2018 term, and this is the last regular scheduled meeting of council, we wanted to recognize those members of council who will not be returning with us into the new term. And of those, we have both Mayor French, Councillor Austin, and Councillor McConkey. And we do have certificates for all departing members, and primarily their certificates say, in recognition of years of service and dedication to the residents of the Township of Springwater as a valued member of council. So I'll first ask Mayor French to come up and receive his certificate.
And I won't spend a lot of time, but I certainly enjoyed my 4 years here. And it's been a lot of fun. I know sometimes it doesn't appear to be that when we have some contentious issues, but I've really enjoyed every minute of it. And we accomplished a lot of great things. And so I love serving the kind of the residents of Springwater. And you know, as a famous kind of Arnie Schwarzenegger said, something to the fact, I'll be back.
Thank you. And for our second recognition, I ask Councillor McConkey to come up. Take a picture first.
I'd just like to thank everyone who took the time to come out this evening, but also all the residents of Ward 4. It's been a great time to serve you. And I also would like to thank all of my fellow councillors. It was great working with you, and I know that the new term will do well, and it's a lot of work, and they're here to represent you, and I think it will go well, and I enjoyed it, and I had a lot of learnings.
Thank you. And our final recognition goes to Councillor Austin.
Thank you. I too would like to thank Council for having the privilege of working with you for the past 4 years. I'm proud of the many things that we've accomplished, just two of them in particular, the Community Assistance Program and the CIP, the Community Improvement Program, just among many things that we have done. We have a wonderful staff, very professional and very good to work with staff. I've really enjoyed working with you all this time. I'd like to thank Mike for all the support that he's given me in the past few years. CAO Brindley, I really appreciated the work that you gave, that you did. You mentored me in many ways. But one of the things that I'm going to miss on council is leading the singing of the national anthem, but I've been in talks with Councillor Hanna, as he's assured me that he will take on that role. But most of all, the person that I would like to thank above everyone else is Mayor Bill French. Bill's been a wonderful mentor to me, an excellent leader. He has set the standard high. And going forward, I wish the outgoing council well. I wish I could have been part of it, but that's not to be. But I wish all of you well. Thank you.
And thank you, and from staff, I would like to thank all of you. First of all, our entire council that has been with us for the last 4 years. And whether you've been with us for one term or a number of terms, I think it's equal in that there's something called a virtuous cycle, in that it's a good relationship when everyone learns from each other. Every day we learn from you, and I hope that you also learn from us. And we're not successful if we don't together always learn and rejuvenate things and add value to the corporation all the time. But on behalf of staff, thank you very much.
And I would be remiss while I allow our clerk to come back here, I really did appreciate working with all of our staff, and everybody says they always have the best staff in the world, and we have great staff. And I read something a number of years ago. It's always good to have good staff, but you only succeed if you have great staff. And we do have a great staff, so my compliments to them. And I think I made them a little nervous when I came in here as mayor. They thought I was going to upset the apple cart, but they found out I wasn't quite as aggressive as maybe they thought I was going to be. And it's been a lot of kind of learning for both sides, and they've been supportive of everything this council has brought forward, and they've shown us better ways of doing things, and we have a great staff, and I can tell you they are great caretakers of your tax dollars, which I think is really, really important. So again, thank you, staff. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the previous minutes. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Hannah and Coughlin. Now, is there any of these minutes anybody wants to comment on? Councillor Austin?
Thank you, Mayor French. 6.5.
Do you want to just comment, or do you want to pull it?
I just wanted to just comment on it. Okay. And 6.5 is the minutes from October 3rd, and item 9.5 has to do with the posting of the weight restriction on structure 19 on Floss Road 11 West. And the amendment said that staff would initiate due diligence on initiating this project not to exceed $49,999. And I just wanted to just make that point because I won't be around at budget time, but I just, would encourage council to seriously consider that improvement of that structure, because the farmers on Floss Road or 11 West, they need that security of that bridge structure to be there for them to carry on their work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on any minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. And now we're on to question period. So it's a time we set aside, and preferably we have questions on items that are on the agenda, but you're invited to come forward and ask any questions. If we can answer it, we will, or we will get the answer for you. So if you have any questions, I invite you to come forward. I think we have a friendly audience tonight, so anyway, so that's great. So moving on to the next item is correspondence item. No, we don't have any correspondence items. So we'll move on to action items. And the first one is a consent on Mill Street. Can I have a mover and a seconder to get it on the table? McConkey and Coghlan. That the report from the senior planner regarding the reduction of securities for 16 Mill Street West, Drury consents be received, and that the securities held by the township be reduced to $62,976, and that additional securities being $50,777.20 be released and divided among the developers as described by the township's engineering peer review, Ainley Group, and Appendix A. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. The next action item is the J. Sheldrake approval or official plan amendment. Can I have a mover and a second to put this on the table? Hannah and Coghlan. That the report from the senior planner regarding application OP-2018-003 dated November 21st, 2018 be received, and the council adopt the official plan amendment as it is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and conforms to the County of Simcoe official plan and Township of Springwater official plan. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. And the next one is the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover and a second to put this on the table? Austin and Allen. That the report from the Deputy Clerk regarding the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, revised terms of reference dated November 21st, 2018 be received. That the revised terms of reference for the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee attached to this report is Schedule A be approved. Any questions or comments on this? All those in favor? Carried. And Fire Dispatch Services Agreement. Can I have a mover and a seconder to put this on the table? Hannah and Coghlan. That the report from the Fire Chief Gavay regarding entering into a Fire Dispatch Services Agreement dated November 21st, 2018 be received, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the necessary agreements. Any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Don't be fooled, they all don't go this fast. And for report information on items 10.2 to 10.4, can I have a mover and a seconder? Coghlan and Austin. that the report items 10.2 through to 10.4 be received as information. Any comments or any of these we'd like to pull? I guess the only one, and I did have clarification from Nick on this, when I was looking at the building report, there seemed to be an unusual imbalance, and apparently we had two major projects, sewage treatment plan and well, I think it was, that were huge construction value, but very low permit. So there was no error there. So all those in favor? Carried. Verbal reports, official plan update. Director Spagnol.
Thank you, Mayor French. Just to report again to council that the draft discussion paper and the draft growth management strategy are available on the website for review of the public and any stakeholders who have an interest in the process. Township staff will be kicking off the final stages of the first phase of that program in 2019.
And since you're on a roll, economic development update.
Thank you, Mayor French. Firstly, again, the website project is moving along quite nicely. We are moving ahead of our deadlines and working on content to make the web pages more reader-friendly so that it serves the public a lot better and provides a useful tool for finding information and public process and public events or municipal events. The second update I'd like to provide is that staff recently received a letter indicating that the township received a gold award for the Township of Springwater Economic Development Marketing Strategy. This was an award, an application, I guess, out of 6,500. Out of that, only 10% were issued a gold award, and the municipality obtained that for the marketing strategy work that was completed and initiated by this council. So I thought that would be a great sign up to some of the work that council has done and through the economic development initiatives that have gone on over the past 4 years.
Thank you. Very good. So county updates, Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Mayor French. County is winding down, but the new county council has started orientation. There's another full day tomorrow. 15 of the 32 county councilors are new, so 47% turnover of new county councilors. So a lot of learning and a lot of new faces and new ideas coming to county council. So look forward to continuing to get to know them better through orientation and meetings starting in January.
Thank you. And municipal updates. What's happening? Councillor Hanna.
Thank you, Mayor. Yesterday, the Recreation Hall Board Committee from Midhurst met with our Director of Parks and Rec, Mr. Belcourt, here, and afterwards we toured the new pavilion in Midhurst, and I have to say, I think all the residents of Springwater are really going to enjoy it. If you haven't had a chance to go over there and look at it and walk inside, it's just very impressive. And Mr. Belcourt, I think, being in a Santa Claus mood, suggested he might have skating available for us there by Christmas. So hopefully that happens, and thank you.
And when's the official opening?
Probably won't be until spring, sir.
Thank you. Okay, any other updates? I'll go to Councillor Ritchie first.
Thank you, Mayor French. A few weeks ago, I asked the Director of Parks and Rec, Mr. Belcourt, if he would take me for a tour for the new addition over there on Snow Valley Road, and I did. And I was very impressed, and I look forward to our fire department getting in there and using it. It's a nice facility, and it's nice. I'm glad it'll be ready for them. So it's very nice. Thank you.
Councillor McConkey.
Just on that, everyone announcing all these new projects, and I know that a lot of the projects that we worked on as this council probably won't be introduced till the spring, and I would appreciate an invite next spring to any of these. And I think it would be really nice to allow the new council a tour of some of these facilities too, because they are new and we're growing, and just take a tour, and that would really help.
Councillor Austin.
Thank you, Mayor French. Just a reminder of some of the events going around Christmas theme in Elmvale. November 30th, tree lighting ceremony at the Gateway Parkette. Santa Claus Parade is on December 2nd. The theme will be Redneck Christmas. And the Lionesses are having their annual sleigh ride taking place at the Community Hall on December 7th. And Mayor French, I meant to ask a question earlier, and it had to do with one of the council minutes. It would be a brief question. if you
Well, let's try
have
it
any.
on.
Okay. The question is directed at Deputy Mayor Allen, and I just didn't record its location properly. In one of your, I think it was your last or second last update on county council, you said that the Ontario Works caseloads were discussed during the council meeting, and county council looked into the reduction of the caseloads. I just wanted you to explain what the caseloads are, that Ontario Works caseloads, what are they? And why is county council looking into a reduction of them? I just wanted clarification on that.
Deputy Mayor Allen.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor French. Thank you, Councillor Austin. Ontario Works cases have been declining over the last several years for a number of reasons. It's fairly complex, and the budgets have been adjusted accordingly. But we still provide in Simcoe County full services through Ontario Works. I did get your question by email yesterday. I just haven't had a chance to send you the report related to this, but I will be doing so, which gets into it in detail. So I'd be glad to share that with you.
I think in simple terms, the follow-up would be there's less people applying. So it's not that the county's reducing kind of its services. There's just less people on that list. So that's why there's that change in it. But yeah, there's a complete report on that. Councillor Coghlan.
Thank you, Mayor French, and as we won't be meeting again prior to, there's also the Anton Mills Santa Claus Parade, the Anton Mills tree lighting, the Menacing tree lighting, Hillsdale tree lighting. So they're on the website and they're also in the rec guide. So for everyone to take note of those, because they are some pretty fantastic events.
And maybe, I think the first one comes up this Sunday, the Menacing tree lighting, just to be aware of that. So please check the website. Any other municipal announcements? Yes.
However, my mind was kind of drifting away. I've heard the rumor along the line that the Springwater Town.
Okay, you need to come for the microphone. We need to hear you. Just pull the microphones towards you.
I heard the rumor to the effect that Springwater Township will be building a hockey marina on Snow Valley Road and Bayfield Street, and I understood that MTO is looking into expanding the pipes and sewer systems, also the fact where you're going to put everything. I just wanted to know if the rumor was true or false, and this came to me through one of the surveillance people that was looking through the lands.
The simple answer is a number of months back, we approved looking at a community hub at the corner there. First of all, the MTO doesn't provide any municipal services anyway. So that would be something.
That I understood, Mayor,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the question was, they wanted to know if they're gonna let you expand the road or do things to it.
Well, we're not even that far down the road.
Okay,
Yeah, so right now, it's just an idea that has not been approved.
but it is true, though, that it has been looked into.
No, the only thing that's advanced is there's a consideration of kind of acquiring land, and we announced that, I guess, early spring, at that corner. And
Right.
that's all that's been kind of announced, nothing beyond that.
Okay, so am I also to be misinformed the fact that the old quarry on Snow Valley Road was to be used for a sewer system plant?
No, that's part of their plan. I mean, that's part of their plan.
I just
Anyway,
thought since I have
we
both
need your official name for the
Oh.
clerk.
Mrs. Yasmina Radosavljevic Sheldrake. I just thought since I had both
Yep.
mayors present and past, I thought I asked.
Okay?
Would you like me to spell that?
We'll have you write it on a piece of paper.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess we're on to notice of motion, and I will hand the chair over to Deputy Mayor Allen to chair this portion of it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor French. There is a motion that has been put forward, moved by French, seconded by Austin, that the council of the Township of Springwater make the following statement of acknowledgement of traditional Indigenous lands at the beginning of all regular meetings of council. And the statement would read as follows. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered on today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation. We also acknowledge that the Wendat Nation and the Haudenosaunee Nation also walked on this territory over time. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous peoples, specifically the Chippewa Tri-Council First Nations, comprised of the Beausoleil First Nation, the Chippewas of Rama, the Chippewas of Georgina Island. We also acknowledge the Moose Deer Point First Nation and the Watah Mohawks, the Georgian Bay and the Moon River Métis Councils. Open this up for any questions or discussion. Councillor Hanna.
Thank you. My first question is the motive for this?
Mayor French?
Yeah, I'd be happy to respond to that. Over a year ago, a number of the educational institutions, Georgian College, both the school boards, because of the reconciliation efforts, have moved forward and they make comments at the beginning of all their meetings. As a matter of fact, I volunteer in the schools. They actually kind of note that at the beginning of each school day. And when I heard that, I had a discussion with Jeff Monet of Beausoleil, and who happens to be the general manager of Springwater Park. And I asked him, could you suggest some wording that may be appropriate for a township council? And so he was the one that provided that. And what really kind of motivated me, though, was probably 2 years ago now. I was at a conference, I guess it was AMO, down in Ottawa, and they had the best presentation I've ever seen of us trying to understand kind of the Indigenous people, the relationship, because we have both sides of the coins. And the one thing that struck me, and the lady that presented it, and it was done so well, she said one of the problems is that when we have discussions, everybody considers the Indigenous people stakeholders. They're not stakeholders, they're rights holders. This was their country that we came to, and yes, we have a number of agreements, and so I think the entire federal endeavor for reconciliation, I think we should be part of it. And why not be a leader, as we have in a number of other things, and move forward with this kind of declaration? And as a matter of fact, the other thing I would encourage the next council, and I know Mr. Monet didn't have a chance to get around to it, but I had asked him that possibly he request a deputation of the clerk to really educate us in understanding what, kind of duty to consult means. Because quite honestly, I don't think we really appreciate it or understand it, but that's the motivation for this resolution.
Councillor McConkey?
I respect the Indigenous people, and I respect that you have the right to bring forward this motion. I do find it strange when we are at our last thing to hold a council accountable from, we've already elected a new council, and this motion came after the time of the new council was elected. I have concerns about that, but my concern is that you did say something at your last sentence where you wanted the clerk to present something to allow us, it's not the rights, but it's the, what did you reference as? It's not the rights of the Indigenous people, but it's I can't remember the word.
No, the comment I made is that the presenter at the AMO conference said there's a misunderstanding that when there's a kind of a discussion on Indigenous lands or artifacts and that, they're treated as a stakeholder. And the comment is they're not stakeholders, they're rights holders. And so they do deserve to be treated differently. So it's not in the resolution, it's not in kind of any of the comments here. I just think that I'm following the lead that's been presented by, basically our educational institutions, and I think it's appropriate that we consider that. And of course, you're right, it's the will of council.
Follow up?
I would just like the motion to be amended that we can at least have a staff report to ensure, to guide council, because one, we don't know if this is all of our Indigenous people or if there's, you know, too many in here. I don't know if this list is correct. It wasn't written by the staff. Also, I don't know if there is any operational impact when you show respect. So what does it really mean? And I'd like to have that in writing, and I think the new council would deserve that opportunity to have a staff report on this before any vote was taken. I don't feel comfortable without a staff report voting for it this evening.
Okay, thank you. Other comments, questions? Councillor Austin?
I support everything that Mayor French said, and with all due respect to Councillor McConkey, I would like to see this passed tonight.
Councillor Coghlan?
Thank you, Mayor French. And if Councillor Austin's calling a vote, that's fine. However, I would not be able to support this evening. I did try to do minimal research on this to ensure that if this is becoming part of Springwater Township and our council moving forward, we need to make sure that everything in here, understand that this is Mayor French and another gentleman bringing this forward. So I'm not, without saying that they're not informed, we need to be sure. This is like singing O Canada. And to me, at the very least, we need to ensure that it's correct, and I will not be able to support this without that. And furthermore, I think we do sing O Canada at the beginning, and it doesn't feel right to me. I would have to really understand it so that I could better. And if you are going to be calling a vote this evening, I would not be able to support it.
Thank you. I fully support recognizing Indigenous rights. I've done a lot of consulting of First Nations in my career to work with them and assist them in economic developments and other endeavors. I do not believe it is right or appropriate to have this council try to dictate any procedures with respect to the new council. The previous council did not do that for this council, but rather left things as they were to enable the new council to make changes it felt were appropriate, and we did make changes with respect to the agenda. So working with the clerk and the CAO, I plan to discuss with new council how to adjust the agenda format and the process of meetings to potentially make meetings shorter and more efficient in certain circumstances, and this could be part of the consideration of that time. CAO Brindley, do you have any thoughts regarding this?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. When staff reviewed this, and we can, you know, as mentioned by a few of the speakers, we can fully appreciate the spirit in which this motion is forwarded. Our concern is from a protocol standpoint, or just from the fact that it's usually the new council that determines the agenda. It's not the outgoing council that determines the agenda. As you may recall from the beginning of this term, there was a request to include the national anthem, which was not included in the previous agendas from the term before. And that was discussed at council. Council voted on it, and now we have the national anthem as well as the moment of silence. From a staff perspective, I'm just letting council be aware it's not usual for this to happen. It's usual for new council, definitely as part of its first meetings in December, we'll be looking at the agenda and looking at what aspects to include or take out of the agenda. And from staff perspective, it's usually that's the protocol in terms of the new council will determine the agenda.
Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Allen. I know that there is a map, and I've never seen it, but I've heard people talk about it, of all the Indian villages in the area. It was mapped many, many years ago, and I'd love to see it. And I'd like to see further report done on this, and I would be more than glad to share some names of people that be very a wealth of knowledge in looking into this further. But I agree with Councillor McConkey and Councillor Coghlan that I can't support this time, so I'd like to defer this. Thank you.
Councillor Hanna.
Thank you. If this is not going forward tonight, I would like to suggest that the new council give Mayor French, who will just be Bill French in the future, an opportunity to come and speak to the new council with regards to this when a decision is being made.
Well, he's open to make a delegation, just as anybody else is.
Thank you for that.
So, Councillor McConkey?
I can refer, it sounds like some of the council would like to see it go to the next council, so I could refer it to, I have a motion that I'd like to put forward.
Okay. Thank you. Moved by Councillor McConkey that the motion now before council be referred to staff in order to report on impacts to the township of Springwater. Could I,
Sorry, I just want to make sure that the impacts also, if staff's looking at it, that, we do reference the names too, because I don't know if these are the correct groups and they should all be included, or it's going to be someone's going to have to say a lot of words here.
that would be part of the,
all groups for inclusion.
all appropriate groups. Okay, I'll reread it. Moved by McConkey that the motion now before council be referred to staff in order to report on impacts to the township of Springwater, including confirmation of all appropriate groups. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Ritchie? All those in favor? Carried.
Actually, I'll make it unanimous. I have no problem, and I'll pick up on what CEO Brindley said, and that's appropriate. And I'm not interested in coming doing a delegation because I did the research, and this was presented to me by the person that helped write the ones for the boards of education, just so you know.
Turn the chair back over to Mayor French.
Thank you. Is there any notices of motion? Okay, seeing none. Items for future consideration, or any new items? Okay. Bylaws, can I have a mover and a seconder for the bylaws? Hannah and Coughlin. That the bylaws listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? Carried. And a confirmatory bylaw, mover and a seconder. Austin and Ritchie. That bylaw 2018-079 to confirm and adopt the proceedings of council at the regular meeting held on November 21st, 2018, listed here and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? Carried. And our adjournment. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Ritchie, Councillor Coughlin. That the regular meeting of the Township of Springwater is now adjourned at 7:08 p.m. to meet again in the regular meeting on December 12th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. in the Council Chambers Administrative Center, Minising. Is that the right date or is it 5th? Okay, all right. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone that came out tonight, and God bless everyone, and God bless Springwater. There's a little reception out there. Help yourself to food and that, and love to kind of speak to some of the people. But anyway, thank you for coming out.